So IDEP Foundation is a local NGO based in Bali. We're working in permaculture and also disaster management and sustainable agriculture.
I'm Evelyn. I'm from the city of Los Angeles. I came here to Bali and was introduced to this whole new world of permaculture where you work with the earth and allow the earth to do its own thing and work in your favor. This all started with a tour of the IDEP facilities with my friends James and Scylla.
Hello, my name is Scylla. I'm working in IDEP Foundation as a Public Relation and Communication Officer.
One of the main principles of permaculture is that everything works in a cycle and nature pretty much takes care of itself. You don't really have to do much. You just have to put the system in place to allow nature to take its course. Resources that you already have to fuel the system.
Hey, this is a good example of like using what you have on your property as a resource. You know, a lot of people are buying food for chickens, bringing it in, but this is actually, chickens like eating this. This is a type of thistle, I think. And yeah, this is what most people would consider a weed and throw it away, but here, you know, you can feed it to the chickens and you're bringing it back into the nutrient cycle, so the chicken will eat this. You've weeded, and then that's going to go back into the water system here as chicken poo and irrigate the same plants.
This is from old buckets, and why we put the pipe here, it's for putting the liquid compost that we made, so it directly goes to the roots.
So mulching is where they take dried out materials or dried out straw or grass so that it can release carbon as it's protecting the topsoil and protecting the crops from sunlight and retaining the moisture.
We use this mulch. It's to keep the humidity of the soil, and then also if it's decomposed, it will be fertilizer for the soil itself.
Yeah, it's good habitat for the microbes, and also another good thing is, yeah, it retains water, so it keeps the moisture inside, but it also, when it rains, you know, if water just hits the soil, it will wash the soil away, but this protects the soil. I mean, this is the byproduct of rice cultivation.
Okay.
But you can also, I mean, if you look over there, there's lots of grass growing, and that can be cut and used as mulch, so you're closing the circle.
The process.
Anything that is dead is carbon, which is habitat for microbes, but if it's still green, it's full of life, which is nitrogen, and if you are putting it on there while it's green, it's actually going to suck a lot of the nitrogen and nutrient out of the soil as it turns dry, so it's best to wait until that is dry and carbon before putting it on the beds.
Because some of the plants, they have like specific paths for like maybe flowers and then vegetables. If we plant flowers together with the vegetables, and they will get confused.
We call that in permaculture, we call it companion planting.
So companion planting introduces a core principle of permaculture, which is basically that nature takes care of itself, and if you just put two components next to each other, it does the rest. It's pretty cool.
So when you're planting a variety of plants, there's different types of guilds, and guilds are different types of plants that can grow together, and they kind of have a relationship. They can feed each other different things, and they can protect each other, and they've got a function that works together as a guild.
And also they like sharing the nutrients in soil, because each of vegetables, like they absorb different nutrients in soil.
Strategically growing two sets of plants together that benefit each other in some way, either by sharing nutrients or ridding the other of pests. This is also called synergistic planting.
With a legume, this is a legume, any type of legume, right, has on its roots a nodule, like a little ball, and on the roots that bacteria, which is also sort of known as nitrogen, lives in relationship with the legume on the roots. And so just as you can see, this is starting to flower now, so just as it's getting to its flower stage, you cut the legume back and it drops those roots and releases the bacteria into the soil, which then works with helping support the rice to be stronger. So nitrogen, obviously bacteria, microbes, microorganisms are what plants live off. So by planting plants that actually have a relationship with microbes, with rice, this is a form of companion planting, and this is going to give a lot more strength to the rice and allow you to not have to use fertilizers, because this is a plant that is providing the fertilizer.
So you got your rice and beans from day one. They also talked about crop rotations, planting in cycles, so that what you have just planted, the remains of that can benefit the next crop that you are about to plant there.
You never plant the same thing on the land.
The whole month, the whole year.
Yeah. You got to put cycles, because what one plant takes, the other one gives, you know, so you're constantly replenishing what one plant has taken in cycles. And there are certain plants that you can plant in cycles that feed the next plant in the cycle. So to sort of understand what this system is doing right here, so you're feeding the chicken weeds and seeds, and then the chicken's pooing into the pooing into the water here, and then the water's getting the nutrient from that, which is full of microorganisms which plants feed off, and then that water is then overflowing down into irrigation systems, which then feed the rest of the garden. So that's why it's beneficial to have animals higher up on the land, because their nutrient then filters through the land, and it's creating a cycle, a closed cycle.